Thunderpole T-800 2023 version with public address feature. Review video with set sent in by Thunderpole.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So, I've had a package sent in by Thunderpole. They offered me a radio for review and here it is. I haven't opened the package yet. This has been here a few days waiting to be done. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this package. Now, I haven't told you much about this radio yet. You might have seen a bit of a short about it, because I'm going to be doing a short about it after filming this part, which you should have already seen. So I'm just getting into the package, and we should have in here our radio for review. This is kindly sent in by Andy at Thunderpole. Thank you very much for sending me this in for review. This is one very well wrapped up Thunderpole T-800. Now, I've already got a T-800, but this one is different. This is their new T-800, and this T-800 has something that most modern CB radios don't have. And the predecessor to this T-800 certainly didn't have. And it's also all new circuit inside, I've been told. So, here's the box. This box has got a little bit of a ding in it there, but that's okay. So, looks like it's had a bit of a incident in the post, but we shall leave it at that. But it's got here in one piece, so I'll keep the box safe, because good chance I'm going to have to take this back to Thunderpole. So, comes with your power wire with bare ends, but they do offer you the option to have a cigarette lighter plug put on that, but I'm not going to be putting one on this. And if I can get into the radio, it's wrapped up in a cellophane package, and that's the front of the radio there. So, that's the front of this T-800. Spot what's new? It has a PA function on this switch here instead of the channel 9 position. Channel 9 is not used much as an emergency channel in this country anyway, so it's not really any great loss there. It still has all the other switches like EU, UK, which is FM and AM, on anywhere that supports it. Channel up and down, the usual squelch and RF gain controls, and power and volume. I've not powered this up yet because this is the first time I've had it out. As you can tell, the bag was sealed. I hadn't even looked at it at that point. So, on the back of the radio, try not to wallop the camera. Instead of just the speaker connector, for an extension speaker, there's now one for public address, hardwired power cable with an inline fuse holder. And as I say, it was bare-ended wires at the other end, so you can put a cigarette lighter plug on that if you want. Or you can get Thunderpole to put one on for you. Comes with the standard microphone these come with. So, I've got two of these microphones because already owning a T-800 myself and the T-3000, which is the mobile rig. And both work quite well. So I'm going to expect this one to be no different. Bag of hardware, usual things like rig mounting screws and such like. So you got spare fuse in there, got mic clip, the rig mounting screws with the rubber washers, and the self tappers to attach that microphone bracket and presumably the radio itself. Yeah, it's them all under there. Let's see if I can bring them in for you. So, comes with everything you pretty much need to get started, and there's the, we'll untangle from that. And that one there is the mounting bracket. And I've already got one of these, so you just put the the bolts in the side of the radio, and then slide it into that and tighten it up. Once you've fixed this to a surface in your vehicle or in your shack, if that's what you want to do with it. So, and obviously microphone just plugs in the front. Okay. Well, there we go, like so. So, it's just a normal microphone connector. That's not changed, that's the same as it was on the one I've got. So I'm just going to go grab the one that I've got. This is my own T-800. This is the previous version. Now, it does feel like they have made some slight changes. So the buttons feel slightly different on this one. This one did have a cigarette lighter plug put on it. That was just so I could connect it up easily without risking blowing it up. But otherwise, side by side, they don't look much different. So, the buttons on the newer model do feel a little bit chunkier, I think. So, let's put that there on the table to get rid of some of this bubble wrap in a minute as well. So, I'm going to go grab something to power these and some dummy loads, because I don't want to blow them up, do I? So, I'll go and grab those. Okay, so I've got the two radios side by side. This one's mine, this one's the one that's coming from Thunderpole. So, got your microphone with your usual buttons on the top, up, down, and auto squelch. So, auto squelch, all that does is switches between the auto and manual squelch. So, you'll see the green LED on the radio go on and off as I press that. And it's on top of the microphone, so quite convenient. But if you prefer the manual squelch, that's just there for you. So, got an RF gain, which I can only really test with the signal generator, but what I can do, if I transmit on the other radio, there's a dummy load on that as well, so it shouldn't be a problem. See, that works fine. And that works in AM and FM. So you've got your volume and power switch here, so turns the radio on and off. CPT channels, FM only. UK channels, FM only. It's marked AM FM because it's multi-standard, like all modern CB radios. So to do that, turn the radio off, press the down button and the PTT. I believe that's down. I believe that's PTT. And then you select, you can use the microphone or use the front of the radio to select that. So I'll select one random, turn the radio off, turn it back on again. That puts it into a different one. That will now do AM, FM where permitted. Can't test that without putting another radio into that mode. So when you turn it off and back on again, it's still in that. So I'm going to put that back to the UK mode. And that's now back in the UK mode. So, comes from Thunderpole set to UK, but if you're in another country, it doesn't take long to set it. Comes with an instruction book, that's all detailed in there, as well as information about the microphone and location of all the controls, including the PA socket in the rear. And the table of all the different country codes and where you can use the radio. So it's a nice little bit of kit. Then you've obviously got all the technical specifications as well in the back of the manual, and it's a very straightforward manual. It's not overly complicating anything, so even someone who's new to CB can flick through that and have a look at it. So, what I'm going to do next is we're going to take these both through into the other room, to my radio room, and going to put we're going to put these on the signal generator. So, find out how well they work. Like that. And I'm also going to put them on a power meter, and we're going to see just what they're doing power-wise. Although I do believe I have optimised this one that I own. So, be interesting to see what this does straight from Thunderpole. So, we'll have a look at that. Okay, so I've got the radio now connected to my signal generator. So, signal generator doesn't quite go spot on frequency, but there's not a lot I can do about that. So 277912 is the closest I can get. So it's currently putting a signal out of minus 70 dBm, which according to my crib sheet is 70.9 microvolts. RF gain's turned all the way down. Squelch is at the minimum. So if I turn that up, that will then increase the strength of the signal, and more bars on here will light up. It's only lighting up 2 at that. There is an adapter on the signal generator because, unfortunately, I haven't made a lead up specifically to connect into that. So it's a BNC to SO239 adapter. So that's on channel 20 on the UK set of channels. So I've turned the tone off because some people will probably get annoyed by a 1 kHz tone. So what I need to do is I'm going to turn this to its lowest if we can. And as I turn that down, you'll see the LED lights in the signal meter go out and the signal gets scratchy. About that, I'll flick the tone back on. Let's see. So I'm hearing the tone down to minus 119 dB. I'm just saying losing it at minus 120, so 190 minus 119. If I can find out my ears, 0.25 of a microvolt. That's how low I'm hearing that down to. Yeah, I won't hear it any lower than that. I'm going to set that to about there. The threshold for the squelch. Let's see when I get that back. Oh. I'm getting that around about minus 115 dBm, 0.399, 0.4-ish of a microvolt. So that's about par for the course, I think. Now, I'm not expecting this signal generator to break through the full squelch. No. Because the highest my signal generator goes up to is minus 70 dBm. I do have a tiny SA that can generate a signal a bit stronger than that. Although I've got no means to directly connect it at the moment. But it will generate the signal. If I put it into low out and set a frequency on that, which will be... I've just got to turn off the signal generator first. Yeah, I've got no way of directly connecting that, which is a bit annoying. So, just have to use a telescopic antenna there. So I do have an adapter that would fit that, but I believe it's in the car with the rest of my RF adapters. But I believe that will be strong enough to open the squelch. So I'm just going to grab something else to test that, and I'll have to change the channel. For that. I have a little Harvard 020 here, which has got choice of 2 channels. That works fine. Yep, so that's opening that there at close range. So it does open with a strong signal. I can't measure the signal, but it's strong enough to open it. So I'll have to connect this up and come back to that. So the squelch works fine, RF gain works fine. PA, will need to connect a speaker to test that. I have a speaker here. So that's the next thing I want to test. I'm going to have to stand up so I can have a look at that. So to plug the PA speaker in, there's a socket closest to the antenna. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, I pick up the microphone. Testing 1, 2. Seems alright. There is a relay clicking away in there. Testing 1, 2, 3. And it's adjusted on the volume control. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, testing. Yep, so you adjust that on the volume control. Unplug that now. So you can have like one of those PA horns on the roof of your car, if you want, or truck or whatever. So I'll put that back onto where it was, which is channel 20. So now I'm going to connect the power meter and measure the power. So I'll just pause while I do that. Okay, so now I've got the power meter in line. That measures the watts, that measures the SWR, and with the dummy load, hopefully, that will be absolutely nothing there. So I'm going to set that to the set point, just to prove that. Yep, so power in watts, this is UK FM channel 20. My meter says it's just a shade under 3. Good enough. Let's see how it is across the range. So if we go to channel 40 UK, do it again. Similar sort of reading, around about just 2.8, 2.93 watts maybe. All meters will differ. Some are more accurate than others. This isn't the most accurate meter in the world, so maybe it may be more, maybe less. Channel 1 on UK, around about the same. Try the CEPT channels, FM. Channel 1, CPT, FM, a little bit less. It's just creeping towards 2.5 there. Channel 40, CEPT. It's all the same, 2.6, 2.7 I'm getting on that meter. It's not the most accurate meter, as I said. So I want to try that in AM, so it means I'll have to go into a mode where AM is permitted. Hasn't done it. So it might be that one. There we go. How's this time? So let's change to a... I've just discovered a little shortcut there. So this should be in the EU mode. Not sure if it's doing AM or FM. I'm going to put it into that one. I'll soon find out if it's AM there. Yep, that's doing AM. So in AM, so we go to channel 1. Getting about the same. It just goes up a little bit of them talking to it. 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, it's a little bit more power there on AM. It's closer to the 3, but it's just twitching a little. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep. So it does the power as stated for the EU set of channels, and that is doing AM FM. So for AM FM, going to EU. That's for the EU set of channels. I can't necessarily immediately prove that because my signal generator is going to be obviously not set up for that right now, and it hasn't been on long enough. So unfortunately can't really prove that because my signal generator and the frequency counter hasn't been on long enough. I do have the lead for the frequency counter nearby. I think this is the lead for the frequency counter. Yeah, but it's not been on for a sufficient amount of time, so it's not going to... Actually, no, this is the lead for it here. Picked up the wrong lead, that was the oscilloscope. Yeah, you know. Yeah, 27205, yeah, that's the AM. That's AM in the CPT. There's FM. Yeah, frequency counter's actually warm enough. I haven't shown you that. But I'll put that back to the UK set of channels, so we can continue with the next bit. So again, it's down on there, PTT. Down in the PTT, and then select your one that you want. I'll find the UK, there we go. And I've discovered a quick shortcut. If you press the PTT, turn that off. So if you press the PTT, it'll lock it in. So that's not mentioned in the manual. So, little shortcut. So PA works okay. Radio does more or less what it says it does. And the next thing I want to do is a current measurement, which means I've got to put a meter in line. So I'll set that up. Okay, so this would be an interesting one for those who want to run these things off batteries, is the amount of current this draws. Now, my power supply is at 13.8 volts, give or take. And at the moment it's somewhere between 180 and 190 milliamps on standby with the squelch closed. If I open the squelch, I'll turn the volume down a bit. And you put the audio on. Peaked at about 300 milliamps. On transmit on FM. 1, 2, 1, 2. About 1.26 amps. I'm going to test that on AM as well because it's worth testing that. Let's try that again. Okay, so let's test it on AM. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So about 1.29 with the carrier. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. About 1.59, 1.6 when you're speaking. Yep, so it's not going to change much in FM. It's only really going to change more in AM like that. So you've got, now it's just peaked at 1.6. So yeah, so we're getting close to 2 amps there with AM, but with FM it's about 1.28, 1.29. So it's alright, you can run it off a battery and not be too worried. Usually with 4-watt radios, it's about an amp or two anyway. So it also works out that a 3 amp power supply should be more than ideal for this. I'm using a slightly beefier power supply because it's what's in my shack. So you can run this off a battery, no problem at all, which I was doing earlier. Although having said that, that battery seems to discharge a bit quick, so it's not ideal because it's a car jump starter. So, all in all, so far, I'm impressed with it. Nice radio. Nice that they've added the PA function to it. The buttons feel a bit chunkier. And all the controls are where they're supposed to be. So, everything is good. RF gain works in AM, FM. Squelch, you've got your manual and your auto squelch still. You've got your signal bars. All of them light up when you transmit. The more of these light up will indicate the strength of your signal. So I'm going to hazard a guess that the red one's plus 30 and plus S30 and 9, yeah, and so on and so on. It's just relative. It doesn't give you an exact reading, but it just gives you a clue of the signal strength. So the only thing left for me to do is put this on the air and see if I can get any contact with it. Now, in previous videos where I've tested CBs, I've never really got any contacts, so this should be an interesting one. So, we can see what happens there, can't we? And as you can see, it's switched off, it's using very little current there, so that's good to know. So, yeah, next thing to do is put it on the air, put it on an aerial, get some contacts. If not, we can talk back to base with it. I haven't got a radio set up here at the moment for reception, or nor have I got an antenna, so that's something I'll have to sort out in the interim. So, I'm impressed with that. Very impressed. Okay, so I've got my own T-800 here. It's currently just chuntering away to itself on channel 19, as it does. RF gain's turned up to full. Squelch is turned to minimum. Usual lot on channel 19 just doing what they do. So, I'm not sure this will be received at home. I'm just going to grab the microphone for it, which is this microphone. We're going to go to channel 20. Doesn't appear to be anything out there. At least I don't think so. This is a test of the Thunderpole T-800 second version, which is one I own myself, testing back into the home base station, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, I know what that was. This is a second test of the Thunderpole T-800 second edition, which I own, back into my base station receive setup, which is a Thunderpole T-600, connected straight into the camera, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The antenna is a T2LT type antenna on a fiberglass pole. And it turned out there was somebody on there and was keyed over them, which I didn't want to do. Now, I can't change a channel at the other end because I cannot remotely control a CB radio from the other end. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this radio off for the moment. Make sure the volume's turned down. Because I'm going to be very careful with the other one, which has the car's mobile antenna connected, which is showing slightly high SWR at the moment. I'm going to have to look into that. So, and I'm using this box file and the VNA to stand these on top. So, see, will that unplug from that? Yes, it does. Plug this into here. We'll do the same thing again with the Thunderpole supplied set, which is this one, which has the public address facility on it, which is very good, but I've not got a public address speaker with me. So it uses the same style of microphone. So I'm going to have to focus on the radio because it's gone out of focus. There we go. And we'll turn it on.
Sure.
I've noticed the reception's better. Turn it off to that. So, because I don't want to listen to them lot chuntering on as they do, because that's what they do. Yep, you can just see the little light flicking a bit. The auto squelch is currently in at the moment. So, I've got the squelch turned down. There's just something right at the back that I can just say here there, but this is a bit more sensitive, I've noticed. So I'll just turn the other radio off because I don't need it on right now.
And we'll key this one up and see what that sounds like back at the base station. Okay, so this is a test of the Thunderpole T-800 new 2023 model back into the base station at home, which is a Thunderpole T-600 connected straight into the camera. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is using the same T2LT type antenna on a fiberglass pole. So, that should have received. Somebody keyed up there, could hear Roger bleep. But they're right at the back, so I don't think they heard me anyway. Go through all the channels while I'm here. Sounds like some illegal SSB, I think. Just sounds like a dead carrier to me. Okay, let's try an EU band. So I think there's a lift on today. Yeah, SSB, but nothing I can do about that because on CEPT that's perfectly legal. But I think this radio is a little more sensitive than its predecessor. It does seem that way. Let's turn that off. So, if I can break in on 1.9, then that will be good. But if I don't, then I've got recordings of what the audio would sound like anyway. And this is a lovely radio, I have to say. Exactly the same outside as the current one. As the previous one, rather. Current one and the previous one are exactly the same on the outside. In the inside, it's all that's different because obviously this PA feature and I think a couple of other things as well. Now, I did discover today that Richard over at UK FMCB Radio Servicing has also had one of these new T800s on his bench, and I believe he has opened it up. And so he beat me to getting a video on one out. So, you know, but that's okay. I've been very busy with work, so, you know. And, yeah. Let's see if I could break in at all. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to, am I? 1.9 for a copy. No. I'm trying not to record too much in the way of swearing, but that tends to be what happens on channel 19. Yeah, I think there's somebody also transmitting over the top of them anyway, so because I think I'm in between two different sets of burner brigades, as we'll say. But let's see if I can break in again. Well, keep it turned down. I would like to break in and see if I can actually make contact on this thing. But it looks like it's very busy today. But at least I might have some recording when I get to the other end, but I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like somebody's transmitting over the top of them, so... Because I'm like literally in between two sets of quote-unquote burner brigades, and, you know, that's just how it goes. Because obviously I've got the ones over Teesside, and then I've got some others over somewhere, maybe in other parts of North Yorkshire, maybe even into West Yorkshire. Wouldn't surprise me. But, you know, because I'm quite high up here and I should get quite a fair bit. So, on the plus side, at least I know it works. Alright. 1.9 for a copy. Yeah, thank you. I'm just testing a radio that I've been sent out by Thunderpole for evaluation. I'm just wondering how I'm getting out there, over. Oh dear. Yeah, I didn't get a response to my call. I did get one, but then it didn't, because fortunately you got some illegal forward operation.
Yeah, John just said, just to let you know, he's still got that ESU, the one he got. Did he get an ATU with it as well? He said it's been very well looked after and he loves it. Good radio, that's good radio,
Yeah. Nearly, very nearly. But I'm impressed with the radio. It seems to work. It does the job. It's on a big antenna. It's sensitive compared to its predecessor. I'm sure it's a little more sensitive. It seems that way. So, but then obviously we're getting all of the skip. Let me see if on here and see if I can reach someone overseas.
Schräg gemacht, so dass es nirgendwo hängen bleibt.
Yeah, I don't have anyone else sit in the house, which is a bit annoying, but that's fine. And the SWR on the temporary antenna I've set up is actually far too high to even use it for transmit. So, you know.
Who's blowing his trains up?
So back to 19 on let's turn that off. Right, so Thunderpole T-800 2023 edition. To sum it up, very good, very good. Seems to be sensitive. PA feature, an absolute bonus because you don't get that much anymore. And on the UK frequencies, straight out of the box, you don't need to worry about changing to set it up for the UK frequencies. The only drawback, which has been the case with the T-800 since the start, is to use AM, which we legally can do in this country. You have to set it for a different country, but it's actually very straightforward to actually change it from one country to another. And the size of this would happily fit in my car, and because where my T3000 is, it would happily fit there, and it's not too deep. It's got a heatsink on the back, so that's ideal. And at the moment, I'm running it off the car's battery, which is 11.5 volts according to the FTM 400, and it's getting out okay. I've measured the power output, about 3.5-ish watts, I think it was. I can't remember off the top of my head without going back home and looking at the power meter. So, not been able to make any contact on it. Well, I came close. So, until someone from overseas stepped on top of me. So, you know, these things happen. And yes, it's got your channel 19 switch. We can't test that right now. Channel 19 switch, PA switch. Lights up all the LEDs. And you transmit. So you've got your red transmit light and your 4 LEDs. You've got your auto squelch on the mic. Press the button on and off. Easy switch between CPT and UK, as it is on the original. The buttons seem a bit chunkier. Feels well made. And I would say well worth the money. So I'm just going to find out how much that radio actually costs, because I think it costs exactly the same as the predecessor, unless they put the price up. I don't know. Because out of all the things I forgot to research was the price. So if I go to Thunderpole's website, we can tell you how much it costs. So, shop CB radios. Mobile CB radios, of course. It is $66.99. So it's actually cheaper than the T600 at time of filming, where this has the PA feature that the T600 doesn't have. And it's an absolutely brilliant radio for the money. Decent microphone. I'm not sure about the audio quality yet, but we'll find out when I get home. So,
Romeo Echo Mike Yankee. My name is Remy. Please give me call QRZ. Back to you.
as it looks like there is a lift on, because that was the...
Because of this French guy. Who's that, Jamal?
They're hearing the French guy as well. So I obviously can't...
Yeah, we're doing okay, Jamal. We're doing okay.
There's a lift on now, definitely. I picked the right day to test it on the air. Let's go back to Fruit Channels one more time. Yeah, plenty of SSB activity out there. I don't have an SSB radio working at the moment. All in all, so if you want one for local comms or to make DX, turn that off a bit. Right, so if you want one of these to make local comms, throw in a car, whatever, it's quite useful for that. Or if you like your DX stuff, then it's also pretty good. Now, it's a bit difficult for me to make any more contact on that. I'm probably not going to be able to make any, but that's a bit of a shame. Would I spend £67 on this? Absolutely, I would. And that's an honest opinion. It's an absolutely lovely radio. Thunderpole have done well here. So, I'm now going to get this back home, and I'm going to give my final thoughts on it. So, that does mean taking an aerial down that I put together, and also I've got to edit that video as well as this video, and this video will probably take priority. So, all in all, I'm happy with it. I would definitely buy this radio to add to my collection of many CB radios. I do already have a T-800, as you know, and it works quite well. And I have the T-3000, which is also a very good radio. I don't have the T-2000, I never bought one of those, but I have heard good things about that as well. So, I would say this is an impressive radio. And that PA feature, if you ever would to use it, can be quite useful. I don't know many people that use the PA feature, but it's there, and it's harks back to the sets of the 80s, because a lot of them back in the 1980s had the PA feature, including the ones that were imported prior to 1981 from America. So, and it displays PA on there, and that's very similar to what my Midland 77095 does when it's in PA mode. So, you know it's in PA mode, and all you got to do is key the microphone up. Obviously, I can't test that in the car, but I really, really have taken to this version of the T-800. So, my own T-800 is covered in dust. It needs a dust off because it's been on the shelf for a while, and, you know. But this one's good. This one, I think, is probably the better. It seems to be more sensitive from what I've gathered by my tests. It still has the S meter. All four lights light up when you transmit. I'm not sure if that's just lights them all up or is actually relative, but that doesn't matter. It is an indication that you have pressed the PTT. And obviously I can hear that in the background. I'm not sure if I can hear it on mine, but who knows. So I will definitely get this back home, and I will definitely get this video concluded. So I'll switch that off now, and I'll have to disconnect it from the supply down below. It's actually connected to the same one as the FTM 400. I've had to connect it in there. So, lovely radio. I'm impressed, and I would definitely buy one. So, thanks again to Thunderpole for sending this out to me for my look at. I'm obviously going to have to get it all boxed back up, and I'm probably going to have to get it back to them, because obviously they don't want it with me for far too long, I wouldn't imagine. I guess they didn't say I could keep it. Because you're never going to get freebies, are you? But, you know, it's a nice radio, and I'm now going to have to take everything down outside. Because, well, it's a T2LT antenna. It's held onto the mast with Velcro. And I'm impressed. Very, very impressed. So. Oh, I've managed to stumble upon some transmission on 18. Sounds like they're from France. So definitely a bit of a lift on. Bit of illegal SSB going on there as well. So this is the UK set of channels. Yeah. Not the usual illegal slow scan television on channel 11, surprisingly. Plenty of illegal SSB though. This isn't really ideal. But you can't stop them. But it just shows I'm getting something.
My name is Remy, Romeo Echo Mike Yankee. Excusez-moi, Tony, mais il y a beaucoup de QRL, de surmodulation in Fox Mike, in ce moment, in South of French. Problème pour me, mais
I think it was the south of France, I said. But it's getting in quite well. So, here we go. I picked a good day to test it on the air. I didn't get any contact on it, which I'm a bit annoyed about. Ooh, I think I'll turn that off. So there you go. I'm not going to bother trying again on their 19. Now, so I'm going to take it home and I'm going to finish off the video. That'll be interesting. So that's the Thunderpole T-800 2023 edition. And I'll be back shortly with my summary on it. Right, so back home now with the T-800 2023 edition. And, well, I'm going to say that I'm very impressed with it. It does well. It seems to be more sensitive on receive than its predecessor. Well, that's the impression I'm getting anyway. And it's very, very good for beginners to CB because all the controls are in the right place. And it comes preset to the UK set of channels, so you don't have to mess around setting it to the correct country, unless, of course, you are actually in a different part of the world. And, of course, it comes with all the bits you need to get started, including a very good instruction manual. Like I said, no, don't need to go through it again, but it has everything that you need in it. And that's in the box. And would I recommend buying it? Yes, I would. So if you want a CB radio, a new one, you're in the market for one, Thunderpole T-800. Now, when I was out on the air, I didn't get the audio recorded from the base station setup because the camera decided to do things that it really shouldn't have done. And that is because I directly connected the T-600 into it, which is what's sat in there now, and there is a camera in there recording now. What that did was it decided to quit the camera application after about a minute, open up YouTube and play a random playlist that I hadn't even bothered to search for and wouldn't have searched for. So I was having some technical issues on that regard, so that never got recorded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I do an audio test. There might be some mains hum on this because this is onto a dummy load, just to see if this and the predecessor may sound a bit different. There's an extension speaker on the T600 in the other room, so I'm not sure whether that'll come across fairly or not, but we'll see. Okay, so this is a test of the audio from Thunderpole T-800 2023 edition, the one with the PA circuit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just in the other room on a dummy load. Right, so I'm going to tack on me receiving that in the other room and also transmitting from my own T-800, which I'm not going to show in this section because this video is all about this one. So, 10 out of 10 from Thunderpole for that. Thanks again to them for sending it out to me for review. And if you want a CB radio, I personally recommend this one because it's simple, no fancy menus or anything in it. Just switch it on, plug a microphone in, plug a antenna in, as long as the SWR is okay, and away you go. So, for £67, you can't go wrong. So, thanks for watching, and 7-3 for now, or 10-10 till we do it again, as I say on LCB. So, until the next one.
Okay, so this is a test of the audio from Thunderpole T-800 2023 edition, the one with the PA circuit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm just in the other room on a dummy load. This is a test of the audio from my Thunderpole T-800. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And if you want one of these Thunderpole T-800s, I'll put the link in the description below. So, until the next one.